So Thursday the 29th of April, another land inspection for land development, and I reckon that is in the order of in this small paddock probably about 10 hectares. There's been a fire across it, and where I currently am, it's fairly dry actually, so that's a good sign. Nice little creek, pretty wet in the bottom. But here's all doable. I'll have to get in here with the chain and sort these things out. Shouldn't be a problem. Overall shouldn't be a problem. So that's okay. Got more up here. There's another 30 hectare paddock there, just the other side of the car. Although I think up here might be a bit of a wet spot that I need to probably tackle with the digger. I want to bring the digger up here in the next couple of days to start its work. So I think that's a bit of a priority to get up here. Last year I came in here with the boom spray, so you can see those tracks. We put Roundup on it, but it was pretty late in the season. But I guess it's still working. Decayed a lot of that natural biomass. It's still there though. So yeah, I'll have to get into this one. Pick up some hectares. Boundary lap there, so another 12 metres into here. Probably a little bit on the wet side of that walk. Still okay down to here, but not much further, and then it'll start going up there. Probably about there. That's our limit on this. So seemingly there's a bit of a line running through there as well. Perhaps that's a carryover from some sort of operation in the Soviet time. You can also start to see that the soil's starting to get a little bit wetter there as well. We walk up here, it starts to get a lot better. So about there is dry. So we're not too far off with our boundary run from last year actually. Probably pick up a few meters. We'll walk up here. I reckon there's a wet spot. You can probably pick it up in the distance there, that little green patch. Probably come to that paddock later on in the day, but you can see it the other side of the valley. It goes around, up, and then alongside the forest, and then comes back around. I reckon that one's probably been farmed a very long time ago as well, but you can see the distinction between where it has been farmed and then unfarmed land. So even though it hasn't been probably touched for 30 years, it hasn't still gone to its fully natural state. Otherwise it would all look like that valley bottom up into the edge of the boundary. So this area we kind of go up, and then there's a bowl. It's going to be wet in there, but I reckon if we come out and slingshot it around and then down and around, that's probably our limit in this field. But we're a good, I don't know, good half a K from the car, so I guess that's not too bad. Nice little paddock. Pump some corn out of here, get into it. So while I'm walking across this paddock, some shooters. While I'm walking across this paddock, it reminds me exactly the same condition of the of our experimental 12 hectare 100% no-till paddock we did last year. So similar ground conditions, similar soil type. I planted last year's no-till into standing natural vegetation, which was up to probably about my calf. Planted it and then came back a day or two later and actually knocked it out with Roundup, and also put pre-emergence herbicide on, and that kept that paddock clean all the way until harvest. So the only other application after that was actually an insecticide, and the only other operations as well were a top-up, 2 applications of top-up urea. Each application was about 150 per hectare. So I reckon this paddock will be good to go. We'll move up the road and have a look at the conditions of the other ones as well. But yeah, this one will be 100% right. Hopefully everything else is in a very similar condition. Probably get the digger in there and just clean out that waterway a bit, get the water flowing, or perhaps I can come from that top end and run it into a bigger dike that's actually closer to the car. So yeah, so that'll work. See, the water's just backing up here, a bit wet there. But if I can run it over this way, we'll have to level this bit of ground out. It's a bit up and down, but all doable. So let's have a look at these big trenches here. Again, I don't actually know if this was a carryover of a Soviet drain or not. Looks fairly substantial, so perhaps it is. If I can divert the water into here, get it out the guts of the field, then we'll be right. See, it must be, it's too straight and uniformed. So yeah, there's another one there as well actually. Let's put my wellies on. So that could do with a bit of a clean up as well. Next paddock, 30 hectares ish, give or take a bit. Go have a look at that as well while we're here after a welly change. So clearly remnants of old Soviet infrastructure, so needs tarting up. Probably pull it back and then reset that, and then get the drain working properly, and it'll be good to go. So it's a fairly large one. It wraps around all the way through and around. Again, not here, but just a few hundred meters up there. Started the spraying to knock some of the vegetation out. So we'll have a trial of sprayed versus unsprayed with Roundup in our no-till system. Just stick the penetrometer in here, see how we go. Right, that's about our limit there. So we'll just take it out. We're up towards the 300 just there. Before that it was all in the green, so just nice. There you go. So that must be at least half a metre. So basically, apart from a couple of patches, whatever you see here is what we'll be farming. A good chunk of it should be there this year as well. I reckon that's signs of probably a little bit of wild boar action just there. Now that there is probably another good sign of some action happening in the Soviet period. So, and actually down there in the middle of that valley there, there's actually an old well and old foundations that have actually been pushed up into a rubble pile, and there's actually a little sign a little bit further on up the valley. It must go 5 or 10k, wraps around all these little hills and zigzags, and we go around that big forest and up for another couple of k's as well. So nobody here. The nearest village is probably about a good 3k, maybe 4k. We'll call it a country mile. So nice and peaceful, and a good chunk of land as well. Probably doesn't look that visible because it wraps around all the little corners and nooks and crannies and everything like that. Now down there, it's an area that is a bit of a longer term plan. What's this? Longer term plan is to put a great big drain through the guts of this valley, get the water moving, and then slowly encroach down with our operations onto some of that flatter land once we're able to get the water moving. And that's probably some of the best soil you'll ever see down there, but up until drainage is established, it's just a no-go. Yeah, so all jobs. Anyway, I'll get this thing out of the ground and see what it is. Guess that would be pretty nasty if it went through your bloody tyre, eh? Anyway, what's the penetrometer to say here? Oh, wrong way. One-handed. Oh shit, all the way in. Didn't stop. Lovely. You probably can see the subsoil change there, but still, I guess the main point is goes all the way in. Huge sponge to soak up our high rainfall environment, all that rain. So this is another field that was sprayed out, you can see the line, and you can see the mist there as well. Last year, I think it was about 4 litres a hectare of Roundup. This is actually pretty level, and it's relatively dry compared to what it was in the autumn. It was horrendous, seriously bad. So a couple of contour drains up there, and another one that the digger will have to come in and tidy up some boundary lines as well. But right now it's looking pretty fit. Put some fertiliser in that. Very mellow, extremely mellow soil. We'll pick up all of these hectares here, and depending on how well the drainage goes, we probably can't go to the left there. It's probably out of bounds for this year, but then we can go through that valley, the other side of the trees closest to us, and then we go down and all the way around this forest here, and that's some good country down there as well. So I think what I'll do is we'll come and get the mold drainer in here and quickly do a couple of runs, and then it should be ready to go. There's no need to do a chain operation on this. It's already clean, nice and tidy. So what happens is the water hits here and then it accumulates on the hill, and then it just, as soon as that sheds into here, the soil seems to act like a dam, and it takes its time to actually naturally go down down the landscape into the natural water course and then out, and that's why it becomes wet. So you can see here, this is a bigger catchment for that area just around the corner, and that's our problems. So although that I could probably travel on this now, it'll become a nightmare when we get the crop in, so we'll have to go around that area. Why I call them ant hills is because we have these like white/orange ants in them. I don't know why all of that reddishness was actually caused by last year's rain. And that's why this area is not gonna, from here up there, is not going to be suitable for this year's cropping. But down there you can see that there's none of that iron kind of tinge, so that will get put in. And then as we develop the land, we'll start picking up more hectares as it becomes more fit. But low-hanging stuff, so for this year. We'll develop a lot more land this year as well, ready for next. So all through that valley. You can see what I'm talking about is if you look in the distance there, the valley continues up there for another 2 or even 3 kilometres with bigger tracts of land than this. So this is the field with our old bore in it. Again, we'll have to come in here and chain it, tidy it up. To level it as best as we can as well. There's the water there, if you can see that. Something obviously here, and they're the old foundations down there. I'm not sure what it was, what it used to be, but we've got a field coming through here, goes around there and follows the tree line around, and then all in the distance as well. So it's a fair bit to go out. This one's going to be a little bit trickier. Because especially these parts here are non-croppable in the current state. So up here might be a go. Looks like it's some sort of old road here. These big tracks is where the military actually came through. Made a lot of tracks in this field. That was actually flat before, so it's given me a bit of work to do, I guess. That's one of our spray tracks. So we knocked this field out again at the same time last year, midsummer, probably about June, maybe July. But just need, this area is okay, we just need to knock out these anthills and that'll be fine. Another spray track here. One in there. Don't know what that track is. Distance is ours as well, actually. Which we get to. Bit rough there, isn't it? Tank tracks. It's pretty serious. Deer, I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it? Just gone around the tree line. Quite a bit of wildlife out here. Problem is that you probably don't see 80% of it is because it clears off. It knows that you're there before you know it's there. Looks like these somebody's den or something here. All of that got sprayed as well last year. Let's have a look at this, see what's happening here. Oh shit, look at that. Loads of water. Loads of water. Need a bigger drain. See, come down there and spill out the drain. So this area's wet now. Still running. Be in this area. Certainly the top 20 meters we're not going to go near. It's running, but it's not deep enough. It's backfilled itself, so I'll have to do a better job than that. Get it moving. So it's still a bit boggy here. But hopefully it changes here. This area is okay. That wet area is going to be a problem. what's happening is the drain hasn't been finished off, so it's actually coming down from both of these and coming through here. So the field would be right though. Stretches all the way through there.